Alright, everybody, welcome back to yet again another video. So the 2023 reviews continue with the Buffalo Sabres. We did a little bit of a time gap, but now we're going to try and punch out the rest of the non-playoff teams, and then we'll get into the playoff teams, of course. So Buffalo, this year was a very exciting year for the Sabres, and it was definitely, although they didn't make the playoffs and they've missed the playoffs for 12 straight seasons, I think it's honestly a big step for the Sabres team. Realistically, when you look at it, this was a club that, they were going through a lot of years of just terribleness and being absolutely horrible team. But the past 2 or 3 years, I'd say, have been very positive for this Sabres team 100%. I'd probably say this year and last year we're both showing signs of positivity. And they were actually really fun to watch until all the way up till April, for being honest. They had a 42-33-7 record for 91 points. They had a .555 win percentage. They scored 296 goals and let in 300 for only a -4, which is significant considering the fact that they've been way below that in previous years. They were 17-20-4 at home, and they were 25-13-3 on the road. Again, they were a very exciting team. I really enjoyed watching them. I actually got the privilege to go see them in person. Even though the Flyers beat them, it was in the game vlog right up on this YouTube channel. I did get to see a guy like Tage Thompson, young guys like Dylan Cousins, Rasmus Dahlin. It felt pretty surreal to see some of those, the young guys of Buffalo's future. I thought it was pretty cool to see them in real life. But yeah, overall, a step in the right direction. Month by month, they went 6-3-0 in October, and then came November. And November's a weird month for them. There will be Novembers where they win 10 straight, and there'll be Novembers where they don't win a game. They went 4-9-1 in November. And honestly, they really could have used a couple extra wins there. If they won about like 3 or 4 of those games, they could be right on the cusp or pretty much right at a playoff spot, which definitely would have helped them out. But unfortunately, November was kind of what killed them, but they still stayed in the race for a long time. They went 8-2-1 in December. This is when things started getting really exciting, and we started talking about them a lot. January, they went 9-4-2. February was 5-5-0. March, they kind of started to fall off a little bit, and this was the time where I went to one of the games. They went 5-7-3, and that really put them out of the playoffs and put them out of that picture. But they were still going strong heading into April, still in the playoff race, as they went 6-2-0. So overall, they had a pretty good year. And for Buffalo standards, it's an amazing year. But overall, when you look at the other NHL teams and where they finished standings wise, they did a pretty good job. They were only the second team behind Pittsburgh to miss the playoffs. They were the second closest to Florida in that wild card spot. So definitely, I think was a really good season for Buffalo. I can't reiterate that enough. Now, someone who's had a really good year was Tage Thompson. Oh man, this 6'7" forward is proving that he is something else. 78 games played, 47 goals, 47 assists for 94 points. It's crazy to think that Thompson, a guy who was involved in that Ryan O'Reilly deal and was looked at to be, oh yeah, this trade's a loss, hands down, is now probably the winner of that trade. As of right now, of course, because St. Louis won a cup with O'Reilly. But Thompson right now looks like the clear-cut winner of this deal. And he's looked really good for Buffalo and kind of carried them through stretches. And the way this guy can just deke through players, hit them, he's just unbelievable, honestly. I almost said Stuart Skinner. I almost made the mistake of putting Stuart Skinner on the graphic. But Jeff Skinner is second in scoring with 79 games played, 35 goals, 47 assists for 82 points. Hey, this guy was scoring less than 20 goals a few years ago, and now he's getting 35. I think that's still a solid progression, and you put him with the right guys, he's going to score. Absolutely. Alex Tuch, a part of that big Jack Eichel deal that happened a few years back, proving to be a really good forward. 74 games played, 36 goals, 43 assists for 79 points. Tuch, I thought, had a really good year again. Even had more points than Jack Eichel, but Eichel's in the finals, so... Rasmus Dahlin up next there. He had a really good year as a defenseman and was actually getting some Norris consideration. Even though he wasn't a finalist, he did get some Norris consideration. He played 78 games, had 15 goals, 58 assists for 73 points. I thought Dahlin had a great year and definitely a good progression for that Sabres blue line, which is looking younger and younger every year. Dylan Cousins, 81 games played, 31 goals, 37 assists, 68 points. A good step for him as a young player. I think he probably takes an even bigger step come next season, if I'm being brutally honest with y'all. Then you got Casey Middlestat. And Middlestat, I thought, had an impressive season. Now, Middlestat was overlooked as one of those negative, not that good of a player. But this year, I think he's played pretty well, and it's a good step in the right direction for somebody who has been pretty bad at stretches there. Middlestat, 82 games played, 15 goals, 44 assists for 59 points. Victor Olofsson was up next. Actually had kind of a down season, but that's okay. 75 games played, 28 goals, 12 assists, 40 points. I would expect another bounce back year out of Olofsson. I kind of was disappointed with the numbers he put up this year, but isn't bad. The team still played well. Then he got rookies to end out this top 10 in scoring. You got Jack Quinn, played 75 games, 14 goals, 23 assists for 37 points. I thought Quinn had a really good season. As a rookie heading into the Sabres lineup, there was a lot of rookies who came in, and I think Jack Quinn was one of them that did well. Owen Power up next, 79 games played, 4 goals, 31 assists for 35 points. I also thought Power had a really good season. On that blue line, and he was paired up with Darlene, and that goes to show that you pair up those guys, they're going to be really solid, and they have more guys coming up through the stretches to take some more spots on that blue line, and that's really good for this team. They got young guys all around, hands down. And then to wrap out your top 10, you got John Jason Peterka with 77 games played, 12 goals, 20 assists for 32 points. And again, this is a fun team. You see guys in this lineup that who are these people? Jack Quinn, Owen Power, Peterka. To the casual fan eye, they might recognize Power because he was a first-round pick. But some of these young guys are really, really hyped up and are going to be really, really good. Especially in the next couple of years, I think they are going to take that big step next season, and we could see an absolute just surge for the Sabres. They could finish. Honestly, I think they could finish first in the division. I'm not even joking. If all their young guys pan out the right way, they make the right moves, Kevin Adams keeps cooking, I think they will do a really good job. And I think they will make the playoffs next year for sure. Goaltending was one of the big questions, but I think that question's been solved. Now, Craig Anderson is unfortunately retiring. He played 26 games this season, had an 11-11-2 record, a 3.06 goals against average, and a .908 save percentage. I thought Craig Anderson had a really good year regardless. In goal for that Buffalo Sabres team, and it's unfortunate that he's retiring, but best of wishes to him. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who was a rookie this season, weirdly, played 33 games, had 17-11-4 record, a 3.61 goals against average, and a .892 save percentage. I thought he had a really good year overall, but kind of a soft year for him overall as a rookie. Not going to go Calder consideration, but still, I thought played well. Eric Comrie, 19 games, played a 9-9-1 record, a 3.67 goals against average, and a .886 save percentage. Comrie came in, played some games, wasn't too bad. Then he got Devon Levi, who obviously came in midway through the year and is looking like that next goalie of the future for the Buffalo Sabres. He played 7 games, had a 5-2-0 record, a 2.94 goals against average, and a .905 save percentage. So yeah, when you look at goaltending for Buffalo, I would honestly imagine that they're likely gonna, of course, Anderson's gonna leave, so it leaves that 3-goalie tandem there with Comrie, Luukkonen, Levi. I would imagine they're gonna roll with probably a Comrie-Levi pairing to start off, or they could go young and go Luukkonen, Levi, but I'm not entirely too sure there. I don't know if they want to give Levi the starting job just yet. If they would, it's not that bad of an idea, but we've seen that happen before where it fails, so who knows, to be honest. And then the one trade that they made was acquiring Jordan Greenway, which Greenway towards the end of the year played pretty well. Another young forward who plays under Buffalo's young system. I overall really like that move. And I think it's a solid trade. They didn't make any big deadline moves, but that's the only thing. So you can put this season behind us. It was a positive year, but you're going to focus on next year and trying to make the playoffs. Their draft capital, and they have more draft picks. Even more. They have a 13th overall pick in this year's draft, so they're going to get another really solid player. Unless if they try and trade it. Now, I've thought about this. If they wanted to trade one of their picks to get some kind of player, some kind of roster, win-now type player to help out this team. Because, yes, getting all the young guys is great, but maybe they want to go for a current player to try and help out that roster in that way. So that is something they could do there as well. They have 2 second-round picks, 1 third-round pick, 1 fourth, 1 fifth, 1 sixth, and 1 seventh. So they do have picks in every single round. So if they do look to see if they can make a move or go out and get someone like Patrick Kane in this year's offseason, hey, they can go do it. God bless them. But we'll see, of course. UFAs and RFAs. Now, they have $17 million in cap space. So I would imagine none of these guys will be a problem signing, if I'm being honest. You start off with Kyle Okposo, Zegmas Girgensons, Vinny Hinostroza, Craig Anderson, and Ben Bishop, all in the UFA column there. Kyle Okposo likely gets re-signed. He's our captain, so I can't imagine why he wouldn't get re-signed. But there is a possibility that he couldn't. I wouldn't be surprised. Girgensons, maybe, but they might make room for the young guys. But honestly, I would imagine a lot of those guys, except maybe Okposo, probably get all moved out, to be honest with you. And of course, Anderson's retired and Bishop's pretty much done. RFAs, you got Tyson Jost and Cale Clog, two young forwards, or one young forward, one young defenseman. So I would imagine they probably keep both of them, sign them to league minimum type contracts, and keep them as depth players. I think they're solid in that way. But yeah, anyways, that's it for Buffalo. Buffalo Sabres, I think they have a really solid team ahead of them. They were a fun team to watch this year, and I'm very excited for what's going to happen next season and if they're going to make the playoffs or not. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for watching. For sports, I really do appreciate it. Please make sure to subscribe down below if you are new. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.